Hi, everyone. I am Litecoin Lisa, and I am here with my friend SL369 Crypto. We're bringing in Masaki for you. This may be one of SL's last collaborations online. Things are changing so quickly in the world. I've been watching some of Masaki's videos, and he's talking about the power of the pyramid. Was one of the latest ones that I was watching how much we're on. I think he calls it the fourth turn. I'll be right back and we'll let him tell us all about what is going on in the world and how it's affecting you and me and all of us. Hi there, SL. So good to have you back on. And Masaki, welcome to the show. Wanted to jump right in. I know everybody's anxious with what all the volatility in the market and everything not hitting the numbers that we thought we would see last month. But at the same time, the excitement in the stories, the things happening in the news that a lot of us on my show at least have heard about for years now that are finally hitting mainstream media and the truth. And can you give us a little bit about your background and where you're getting your information and knowledge, and where you're kind of, I guess, why you're so settled, so settled and calm and smiling and happy and all this, wearing your cute little doggy shirt, and kind of where you got started in this.
Hi, Lisa. Hi, SL. Well, my name's Masaki Miyagawa. Very Japanese name. But guess what? I'm born and bred in Los Angeles. Family been here almost 100 years. So I'm probably more, LA
Very
than
American.
a lot of people that move later, right? But yeah, I've always had a esoteric interest. Um, uh, Most people know me from making energy pyramids, so orgone pyramids. Do a lot of energy work. I specialize in numerology, so not the gematria, which is the Kabbalistic numerology, but other forms. The gematria, like waters above, that's a special set. But do numerology readings, and um, you know, I I think in general, because I did a lot of readings last year, our kind of people, which is, people that follow SL or Lisa, people that are interested in your crypto shows, um, we've been on a multi-year track of coming to the place we are now, and crypto is part of it, right? So, yeah, and it's been a journey, and it's interesting that something like cryptocurrency, which is economic, right? It could actually overlap with a lot of freedom ideals, ideas around community. And yeah, of course, there's a financial incentive too, right? So these are all Aquarian themes, and they say we're entering the age of Aquarius. So I'm not a professional astrologer, but I have a working knowledge of astrology. So I have, some ideas around the long-term transits. Um, Probably until like 2026 is very identifiable that cryptocurrency, it will be basically mainstream. People may think it's mainstream now, but the adoption is going to be massive. Like anybody in right now, you're actually early.
You're still so early,
It
right?
is going to grow so much. So I'm saying this because the period we are right now, a lot of us wanted, myself included, we wanted bigger gains. But it's pretty much flat, right? So I think there's a lot of uncertainty, worry about it. But long term, I think even this fall will be probably hitting all-time highs. If you're talking into next year, I think the gains will be massive. But beyond that, I think I just see a lot of people moving forward, starting new businesses, relocating. I'm from California, but I've been down in Texas several times. Robert Phoenix's astrology conference, these kind of things, and I just see people of our our mind, and you've been traveling a lot too. You've probably been seeing
I
it.
have been.
People are into crypto and they're using the profits for positive things. So I just see that long term, if you've had an interest in cryptocurrency, if you follow SL, if you follow Lisa, it's the long game, and there's a lot of indicators in the metaphysics to point to this.
Yeah, we were talking just before we got started, just to kind of check in with each other and say hi, and mentioned, we have a video that we did with Robert Phoenix, and I really enjoyed talking to him. I'd love to have him on again. I didn't realize he did a conference. I'd love to go to that.
Oh yeah.
That's really interesting to me. But we had a great conversation talking about the Jupiter return. And that was one of the things where you're talking about this fourth turn or this cycle, the pyramid power that I just watched a video of yours. And you were talking about the Chinese culture. And I
Oh
can't
yeah. I mean,
remember.
you know what? Everything, if it's legitimate, if you study it, it starts to connect to everything else, right? So,
Right. It's all very
yeah.
similar stories, but maybe
Mhm.
called different things in different cultures. But it all kind of rhymes,
There's only one story on the planet. People would like to think, their little group is special, but the more that you have contact with people, if you're interested in truth, expanding your mind, you find out that everybody just has their take on the same thing. So,
I
yeah.
getcha. Yeah, Santa Claus is called what in how many countries and
Yeah.
rides different things and has different, I mean, I'm it's that kind of thing. So I'm hearing Jupiter return, then you were talking about the fourth turn, even listening to your latest, well, I don't know that it was your latest, but this video that I was hearing you talk about where they were saying that people were going to be moving to the southern belt or
Oh, yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
sun
W
belt. That's in
well,
Cliff High's data.
that comes from Feng Shui. So there's, all
Oh,
kinds
the
of
feng
different reading
shui, yeah.
systems. And in Feng Shui, Chinese is very practical. So some of their esoteric reading systems, such as Feng Shui, which is based on like the directions, right? Like north, south, east, west. They use for buying real estate. They call flying stars Feng Shui. But let's say like there's a property, right? And they say, you know what? Right now it's cheap. Nobody really wants it. But in like 10 years,
Mhm.
the energies are going to change and it's going to be hot, right? But guess what? You can expand this directional understanding of feng shui to the whole planet. So right now it's a 9 period, calendar in feng shui, 180 years, and we're in period 8 right now. So period 9, which is the last cycle in the 180-year feng shui cycle, it's 2024 to 2044. Right now, the direction is northeast, which rules China. Almost
Mhm.
impossible for China to lose in the last years, right? Well, in 2024, the prosperity direction switches south. So U.S. is a west country. So
Okay.
for U.S. in general, it's not good. But if you were
Unless
to stay in the U.S., what would be the most stable zone? It would be the south.
Mexico.
And what's the most south? It's basically Texas. Some people might say Florida, but I would say Texas, given the size of Texas. They have oil, they have
Okay,
tech.
but Masaki, if you
Yeah.
go back to our conversation right before we started, people have to think past Trump.
Oh yeah,
What
yeah.
did Trump talk about? USMCA.
Hmm.
And when we did our interview with Robert, he was talking about the astrology for the US and basically the Pluto return and was
Hmm.
like the death of the US. And I said, but what if this was the rebirth of the US,
Well,
was the
well,
USMCA, which would
Pluto.
include Mexico,
Mhm.
right? And it was always make America great again. Well, what's America? Central
Well,
America, North America, South
Pluto return.
America,
Pluto return. It's a death, but it can be a metaphorical death, like you're saying.
or
It's a
all of North
transformation.
America.
Yeah. So whatever happened, a lot of us knew this even before Trump came in. Like as he was coming in, we
Right.
knew that 2024 is the hard end date. 2022 to 2024, 2044, 2022 to 2024. That's a Pluto return. So 2024, that's the hard end of USA as we know
Of
it.
the corporation.
Right.
Yeah.
So, well, my thinking was, hey, I was favorable to Trump, liked a lot of, he's humorous also, but I was at Robert Phoenix's conference in 2020 down in Hill Country in Texas, and I was talking to people, all patriots, and I said, you know what? Just be ready to go beyond Trump, because this MAGA movement, it's bigger than Trump. And if you attach it to the leader, right, or this one figure, if he falls away, it's over. But it's bigger than that. So just take the best ideals of this movement and ride off that momentum to go forward, right? But in any case,
the Constitution, it's about educating and empowering the people to understand their constitutional rights. And that's where we were talking about, well, where does the Constitution come from? That comes from the Magna Carta, which comes from your God-given rights. But once again, if you go back to, even if the corporation of the U.S. dies on that day, well, if USMCA, if that happens, the Canada, Mexico, U.S. is born, then that's a new date. That's a new astrology date.
My personal opinion is that probably we won't come out of this until 2030 or so. And that's what Robert Phoenix was saying down at his conference, that, we've been in it, but we're just going to tip into, I think, the roughest part. And it's going to take a number of years to come out. And you can see that in the astrological transits too. Like the major ones we're in right now don't end until 2026, but we really don't see the light at the end of the tunnel till about 2030. But what Robert Phoenix said at his conference in 2020, he said that 2030 is a time just like 1776, that something could be started that could last for hundreds of years, something good, if people want it. But let me tell you, it's going to get rough, planet-wide, but specifically US. I think it's going to be very difficult here. But, look at the people that watch your show, the people that follow SL, we're some of the most switched on people. A lot of people aren't. So they had to get the whack on the head, be so obvious, get locked down for 2 years to realize something's not working, something's wrong, right? So there's always a rhyme and the reason to why things are happening. But since your show is a cryptocurrency show, I would say that cryptocurrency definitely, even though right now we're in a low period, people are kind of like uncertain, did I do the right thing? Am I going to be okay if I hold long term? I think it's pretty much a lock. And I have, I put some slides together.
Yeah, it's still the bridge out of the
trend. The trend is
show
there.
us kind of, we still believe this is the bridge out of this and into that light at the end of the tunnel, whether it's 2030 or earlier or later. Show us kind of the work and what you see for the future.
So let me pop this up.
And I love your little doggy shirt. You look very handsome today.
If I can't pull it up. Okay. It says I have to upload. Here we go.
Tell everybody about your shirt. You're from Russia.
Oh, Doge.
Story.
The Doge. Well, let me tell you, it was really Dogecoin that started me off in crypto. I actually had some, like a token amount in 2014. But that last big run in crypto, 2017, 2018, I said, hey, I think I have some crypto. So I really started getting into it from there. And then, just like SL, and this is an Aquarian trait, right? Because in the astrological signs and symbols, they say that we are entering the age of Aquarius. Aquarian energy rules automatic downloads, just like SL gets. I had this strong impulse to just stack as much as Dogecoin, which didn't make any sense at all at the time before it ran, right? I said, I got, and I put I put a lot of money in, but guess what? That was sub penny, and
Oh,
those
wow.
went to like 70 cents, something like that. So this kind of thing, and I think using your own intuition, it's a key tool to use when people are watching shows like yours, hearing guests. I'm actually a SL369 subscriber, and I
Same.
look at SL's like coin list, and I'm like, But SL369, she gets intuitive price points, right? But one thing is her recommended coin list. It's long. I mean, there's cryptocurrency. There's like 18,000 coins now. So how do you even winnow it down to the ones that are worthwhile to look at? SL has a very great list, and I use her price points as sort of like a yardstick, right? So, and some of the numbers are astronomical, but I wouldn't doubt some of those numbers could hit, because if you consider how much money is going to come into crypto and the devaluation of the fiat currencies, it could hit those astronomical numbers. But I divide SL's price points, like her future vision of a high price point for certain coins like Shiba Inu, by like 1,000 or 100 or something like that. And if I'm still doing good, then that's a buy, right? So that's what I'm saying is, use your own. Just for me personally, I don't take anyone's vision or their predictions just on the face of it. I kind of like use my own intuition, kind of see how it fits in with other like TA or whatever that I'm looking at. And also, I do you know dowsing, like pendulum dowsing?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a very amateur dowser, very amateur. Like I think I did it once, like 2 years ago when I first joined SL's group. Why? Why did I use dowsing? Because I picked out a dozen of her top picks that interested me. I used the pendulum, and I'm very amateur, so I'm like, oh, I think I'm getting this one. I'm thinking getting this one. It worked out. One of them was
Interesting.
XYO, and another one was Harmony One. At that time, it was a good buy. I don't know if I'd buy it now, Harmony One, but
Yeah, I think it's
using your
really
own
important.
intuition.
Yeah, that everybody, one of the things I teach on my channel is that we're all, we need to take personal responsibility for our health, our wealth, and our personal safety. And that's part of the reason that we're in the financial and the situation that we're in the world right now. And so when people want to blame someone else for a decision that they made with their finances, they really need to kind of take that back and say, who pushed that button? Who chose to take someone's advice? Whatever. We all need to be responsible for ourselves.
Okay.
So this, you go right ahead. I've got you sharing the screen and kind of let us know.
Okay, so
This path.
basically, they say we're in the age of Aquarius, right? So the metaphysical signs and symbols, we live in a matrix system. So if you're a Christian, they say, God created, he made creation. Even in the Christian cosmology, that means, there's laws, there's cosmic laws to this universe, right? That's a matrix, and there's signs and symbols, repeating patterns. So the metaphysical system, it's actually somewhat scientific if you think about it, And this is the symbol of Aquarius. You see how it looks like waves? Well, Aquarius, it's an air sign, so it rules like things like Wi-Fi, things transmitted in the air, right? It's also very, this could be a crypto chart, Lisa.
Interesting.
You have dramatic up moves and dramatic down moves.
I
So
like that.
we are in the age of Aquarius. Let me see if I can move this. Okay. So Aquarius, the water bearer. This is the free flow of information. The man with the water pitcher. That's the free flow of information, just like internet. And
It's also a conductor. Water is a conductor of electricity or frequency.
yeah, Aquarius rules many things, including like anything related to like signals, transmissions,
Energy.
frequency healing, all those kind of things, talking over, live stream like we're doing now. Aquarius rules the group. It's a group consciousness. It also rules future technology. Aquarius is the rebel. You know, if you know Aquarian people, they're usually against the grain. Also rules revolutionary movements. Aquarius rules nerds, incels, the scientists, innovators. Aquarius, they're usually intellectually you know, faster than most people. So, and you know, it's kind of like, you know, a lot of the scientists, the IT people, you know, people that work with technology, often related to, they have an Aquarian element to them. Now, look at this guy. You know, Vitalik, creator of Ethereum, he
That's
looks
a
like a damn
significant
alien
point.
because look at that head, you know, anybody that knows Vitalik, right? And now he's an Aquarius and he's born on the 31st. And, you know, I deal with the numbers. So 31 equals 4. 4, Lisa, is the number of Aquarius. So he is super Aquarian. And look at the shirt he's wearing. You got like the UFOs here. You got a llama with a unicorn and a rainbow. I don't know if Vitalik knows this or not, but there's signs and symbols connected to each sign. The rainbow and the unicorn are symbols of Aquarius, and Aquarius rules the aliens. It rules interdimensional. It rules all those kind of like fringe things. Aquarian people are usually kind of like oddball or seem strange. Lisa, we probably seem strange to a lot of people.
That makes so much
But
sense.
we're just ahead of the curve.
Growing up, like my favorite color was purple. I loved unicorns and rainbows, and I like only would wear jeans. My mom wanted me to wear a dress for picture day, and I snuck jeans out the side of the window and ran around the side of the house and like changed. And my mom's like, got the pictures home, you know, from picture day, and she's like, that is not what I sent you to school. And you know, yeah, I was definitely a little weird child.
So I don't know what the market cap of Ethereum is offhand, but the man that wears this shirt controls the financial destiny of millions of people. We are in the age of Aquarius, right? So Aquarius also rules metaphysics, okay? So that would include astrology, tarot, you know, feng shui, numerology. And there's somebody named SL369 Crypto.
I
There's
love
also
her.
Aquarian, because Aquarius rules the automatic download. When you just get that pure intuition, you don't know where it comes from, it just shoots in your head. That is an Aquarian trait. So now, why is this significant? Because in you know, in nature, we see repeating patterns. You know, like the plant leaves, it's a fractal. Okay, we know this is a nautilus shell. That is actually connected to phi ratio, golden ratio, right? Well, guess what? That is also the Fibonacci sequence. This right here, which is made, you know, by nature, is from creation. There's repeating patterns, okay? Well, guess what? This is what traders use every day in technical analysis, right? The fib lines, Fibonacci sequence, it is exactly connected to this same shape of creation. So this is why the esoteric reading systems are significant, because they tap into, at a very core level, the patterns of our reality, okay? So now, Aquarius also rules virtual. So I connect this because I DJ'd for many years. Back in many moons ago, there was a thing called the vinyl record, where you put actually a needle in a groove and music came out, right? So it started out back in the days of these vinyl records with grooves on it, right? I forget how many minutes it is, but you couldn't really put that, like, what was it, 10 minutes, something like that? I can't remember, but there wasn't that much space, especially for a vinyl single, you know? But then as time went on, it became an MP3 digital file. It's abstracted, right? Virtual. And now I think a lot of people, they don't even have an iPod, probably because they're using their phone, but it's basically it's streaming, right? Transmitted over the air. So you're getting to levels of deeper and deeper abstraction from, it used to be a physical media, right? And then you had CDs, then you went to MP3s. Now it's streamed. A lot of people, the younger people, they don't even keep the physical file, right? So it's abstracted. So this is happening also because Aquarius rules the virtual, right? Like the VR, metaverse, all those kinds of things. it's happening all across the board to many things, including money. Back in the days, you used to have physical coins minted in gold and silver. Well, we had the paper fiat, and then we're already basically halfway there because we're using the ATM debit cards, the credit cards. And what do you think is going to happen to money? Well, a lot of us, we've known it for a long time. I was a silver gold bug like 20 years ago, but the day is finally here. They can't kick the can down the road anymore. And the paper money is going to go digital. Even the various governments around the world, they're talking about the CBDCs, their government coin. Not so interested in that, but I think crypto will also exist parallel to these centralized coins. So we go from here, from the dollar, and this is basically the future. And I'm bringing this up because all the esoteric reading systems, they point to this, that we are going in this Aquarian trend. And as they say, the trend is your friend, right? So if you understand the multi-year, decade-long trends, and it's saying that crypto, is part of that, I think is a good thing to keep in mind, because especially right now where we are in mid-April, a lot of us were expecting a good run, and it's been pretty flat, right? So I think a lot of people are nervous, but guess what? For myself, if you're talking going into the end of the year or 2023 for sure, I think we have some massive gains ahead still. So one of the major transits that's in motion is called Uranus and Taurus. We're in it now. It started 2018, goes to 2026. So Uranus, the planet Uranus, is Aquarius energy. Okay, so like Mars is the planet of Aries, right? You have these associations. So the planetary ruler of Aquarius is Uranus. Okay, so you could say Uranus and Aquarius are equivalent. This is the symbol of Uranus, the planet Uranus. I can assure you, Lisa, you've probably seen this symbol before. Because remember, Aquarius is sci-fi, future tech, all that kind of stuff. You know where you've seen it before?
Oh my goodness.
It's the Starship Enterprise. You think
my
the creators
goodness.
of Star Trek might have known something?
Mhm.
Look at this. And look
Wow.
at that. Future, right? Future tech, future themes. So this is, whether or not they did this on purpose,
It's
a lot of
also
these things
this,
are
right?
so embedded in the culture. They're so powerful that if you understand the archetypal signs and symbols, you'll see a lot more. Yeah.
Is that why they do the live long and prosper?
Well, the live long and prosper, that's the cloven hoof. It's actually a Kabbalistic thing of the rabbis, because it was the Aries, the ram, right?
Okay.
Yeah. We could talk forever about the esoteric stuff, but so Uranus and Taurus, 2018 to 2026. So these trends are going to run. This transit will run into 2026, and it's extremely significant.
Okay.
Now, so it's Aquarius energy, right? Big ups and downs, and it's very dramatic change. Aquarius is like a change agent, and it's very disruptive. Even though the hippies, they said age of Aquarius, people that are not really into these astrological signs and symbols, they might think, oh, hippie, it's all nice and loving. Let me tell you, my personal opinion, Aquarius is a hard sign because it is very dramatic change, and it can be very disruptive. And but the upside is you have these huge up moves, right? Cryptocurrency, but guess what? You have huge down moves too. But if you have the read of the long-term trend, we will come out on top. So Uranus in Taurus, right? So we're talking about Aquarius, future tech, it's the rebel, it's revolutionary, group consciousness. Uranus in Taurus, what does that mean? Well, it's revolution, Aquarian energy, revolution, overturning, right? Of Taurus energy. So what's Taurus? Taurus is the bull of Wall Street. Taurus rules economy. Taurus rules food. What are we hearing about right now? A lot of the food and supply chain issues, commodities, right? Taurus rules the planet. Taurus is an earth sign, right? Earth changes, overturning the planet. Like, remember, I told you it's disruptive. So Uranus and Taurus, 2018 to 2026. But not just that. So this is we're in a multi-year transit, right? 2018 to 2026. It's spanning that entire period. But the interesting thing is this year into next year, we have true node Taurus. This is based on the moon nodes or lunar nodes. Every 18 months, this trend changes for the true node. So now we have a doubling up. It's like Uranus and Taurus, like boom, like doubled up energy, because 2022 to middle of the summer of 2023, we are probably going to see a peak of these Uranus and Taurus energies, because we have this long-term transit with the 18-month transit of basically the same energies. So we should see a peak of this revolution of, Uranus and Taurus energy, which, guess what? It also rules revolution of money, revolution of economy. What does that sound like? That sounds to me like cryptocurrency, right? Uranus, Aquarius energy, right? Virtual, abstraction, abstracting the old money we had to something virtual, digital, transmitted over the air, over Wi-Fi, right? So we're going to see, I think, an explosion in crypto, but we're also going to see a lot. Do you know the last time this Uranus and Taurus transit happened? It was the latter part of the Great Depression.
Okay.
So you got to think about that.
Wow.
Now, that doesn't mean that we can't do well. In fact, Aquarian-minded people, just like your audience and SL's, followers, we are some of the best prepared. We may be doing very well, but you got to think the general public, because they have not prepared at all. They probably haven't even prepped or bought one can of food, right? Not even bought one Dogecoin.
Right.
It could be very difficult for them, but that's also why, for our friends and family, remember, Aquarius is the forerunner. We're ahead of the curve, that we can be the island of stability and positivity in a trying time, right? Because basically, when things are going even and smooth, there's no reason to like focus on anything, right? Or, change your ways. We're in a revolutionary period. You could put it like that. And it could be extremely disruptive, especially to the normies. So also, with the lunar nodes, the true node is Taurus, but the south node, which is in decline, so the south node of the moon, Scorpio, this represents a lot of dark secrets, maybe Hunter Biden laptop, that kind of stuff coming out in the public. South node Scorpio rules other people's money. It could also represent people will lose money, especially through theft or asset seizure. So governments.
There's also the Attorney General in
the
New
hard
York.
wallet YubiKey, as SL recommends.
Oh.
So just look at this. Do I have to say anything else? We are in basically entering the age of Aquarius. Look at those up and down moves. So you just have to be mentally and spiritually prepared, for the ways of crypto, because cryptocurrency is Aquarian, right? Look at these up and down. Look, it's the Charlie Brown chart right there. It's up and down.
That is Charlie Brown's shirt. Yeah.
I mean, Lisa, this, if they hadn't had decided on a Wi-Fi symbol, this could have been the sign of Aquarius. Could have been a sign for Wi-Fi, right? Look at that. So, again, Aquarius rules future tech. It's a group consciousness. It's a planetary group consciousness. I would say, your kind of viewers, they would be, there's always two aspects, the higher and the lower aspect. The higher aspect is an organic planetary group consciousness. Just like, say, at Robert Phoenix's conferences, we work from all different backgrounds, different experiences, different beliefs, but we came together under a common understanding of liberty, and we're astrology, metaphysics nerds under that principle, right? We're coming together. So your show, people from all different backgrounds, but we're all coming together because we're interested in crypto, right? The lower aspect would be like the NPC hive mind, because that's a group consciousness too. So you basically only have two choices. The fork in the road here, your kind of viewers would be of the higher aspect, right? Taurus rules the planet, group consciousness, right? And it's virtual. And, Aquarius is decentralized also, because it's a group, right? It has like no one pole or one singular node. Well, what does that mean? Everything is pointing to cryptocurrency. So I would say by 2026, we will be probably in a fully digital system, but we may even see by the end of next year that from where we are now to the end of 2023, you could see a massive adoption in these, central bank coins, which I'm not so interested in, but crypto in general, the kind of mania that you saw like in 2017, 2018, we're nowhere near that, right? So that tells me we have a lot of headroom, a lot more to go as far as crypto goes. Now, another significant transit, which we were kind of talking about before we started, is the Pluto return, right? So it just started this year and it goes until 2024. So what does this mean, especially for people in the US? You're going to see the end of US as we knew it, as 50 states under the current system, right? And that's a fact. Even a couple of years ago when we were at Robert Phoenix's conference, a lot of us knew this, and we knew this when Trump came in. But the thing is that even if the current system ends, the people are still here. It's just the current system is done, right? So I think America will come back in a different form, but it can never be what it was. So I think you're going to see a lot of angst, and a lot of people, they really don't pay attention to what's going on. So it's going to seem like it just dropped out of the sky one day, right? But this has been going for years and decades. But guess what? We need to change, because obviously something ain't working, right? So, and this all plays into also the explosion of cryptocurrency, because the US being the global reserve currency, that's basically over. You can see it now with the war in Ukraine. This is all pushing the reset forward, right? But it also means that cryptocurrency will explode in value, right? So, yeah. And I think that, the Uranus and Taurus transit, people go look it up, or, watch this back, because I'm running through the slides very quickly. But it all shows that, that cryptocurrency is going to be the future, basically. And I think that's a good thing to know, because if you don't, this is all additional information to just looking at charts, right? But if you look at these trends, it all points to cryptocurrency has a very good future, especially for the next, I would say, next couple of years for sure. You could see a massive move, and this, if we have a big drop coming in, this could really be the opportunity of a lifetime for people that haven't stacked any coins. That's what I would say.
Well, I have to agree with you. The market cap, is what, 3 trillion or less than? No, we're not even at 3 trillion yet. We're the total market cap in cryptocurrency. I can't remember what the number is, because somebody was saying, once it hits, I think it's 3 trillion, that'll be like, you will know we're just starting to get into the financial market. And then we haven't even looked at.
Well, everything is pretty much at the bottom of the chart right now, but I can't believe some coins like Digibyte is like 2 to 3 cents, or even Litecoin when they have the privacy coming in.
Yeah,
I mean,
huge.
Take your pick.
Yeah,
I don't think there's a, of the coins people talk about, I don't think there's a bad one, and I would say this also. I'm not sure why, but it seems to me that the people that do the best in cryptocurrency, they tailor their portfolio to their own personality. I'm kind of, although meme coins are kind of like out right now, people are into gaming, metaverse, whatever, I still love a good, meme coin, a good Shiba Inu. And that's my personality, right? And I think that technically you could just copy and paste a portfolio and it could do well. But I think the best, and I think the most exciting is, the crypto space. It's like the world, right? You get like the gaming, you get metaverse, you get utility coins, take your pick. I think that, for whatever reason, I never did well in traditional stocks, but crypto, I think it's so oddball. Like, why why would a coin just like a fork of Bitcoin with a funny dog on it? Why? I mean, basically, it's money now.
Yeah.
So what part
Shiba
of the
is
timeline are
too.
we on?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's an interesting thing that
Yeah.
Aquarius being oddball, it rules like weirdos. What with the traditional normies think of strange. Well, guess what? We are in the age of strange, of the age of the
The
oddball. It's
people.
the age of Aquarius, right? I mean, look at Vitalik. If
Yeah.
if you want an example of an Aquarian, Vitalik, he
Yeah.
is the archetype, right?
But I think it's
But guess
because
what? The age of
it's the
Aquarius.
age of the people, and it's time for the people to say, "We're tired of the institution. We're tired of, they telling us what to do." And so the people are throwing off the old financial system. They're saying, "No, we want to pay with little doggy coins." And so it's giving the power back to the people, and the people are saying, "This is our money."
Well,
Why? Because we
one
said
way to
so.
describe Aquarian, the Aquarian type, it's sort of the rebellious teenager.
Oh,
So
interesting.
it's that teenager like, Mom, you don't tell me what to do. Like I'm old
Mhm.
enough, I'm smart enough. Like I don't need your rules. I can run my own ship. That's kind of the idea.
That's
So the
hilarious.
people that are very statist, and have you seen that meme? Like I support the current thing.
That's
They're
funny.
really not. They're at that lower aspect of course. The higher aspect is where you have self agency, you take self responsibility, and it's all on you. You know,
Mhm.
and also that we are entering the age of Aquarius. Aquarian energy, it's oddball, but guess what? If you're in the age of Aquarius, the fringe becomes the center. So, if you've kind of been an oddball, always felt on the outs, but probably ahead of the curve all your life, it's your time now,
Well,
right?
that's what I saw
Yeah.
at Bitcoin conference. I think about my friend, Kenny Bozak. He has struggled, in his life. I mean, he struggled so much with, um, in public school, he didn't fit in, and with the way he learned and all that. And so his mom really supported him dropping out of school. And he's
Mhm,
basically self-taught genius.
mhm,
And now he's the king of NFTs and on Twitter, and has, helped other people start businesses, and has his
mhm,
own business, and,
mhm,
creates the kin coin and all this. And I think, yeah, I'm sure he's an Aquarian too. I mean, I'd be
mhm.
shocked if he wasn't. But
I,
yeah,
I
that falls
personally
right
feel
in line
that
with that.
I, I personally feel that our kind of people will be fine, but the general public, it could be very difficult. The period we're just tipping into, but that's for us also. Like I was saying, for us to be that island of stability, to keep the high vibe, and keep our tribe together, right? Family, friends, and they'll probably be noticing, like, you know what, Lisa seems like she's doing pretty well. Maybe I should start paying attention to what she's doing.
Well, the funny thing is, we've been, they've thought we were, like you said, weird, or, oh, you're crazy thinking about your, 17th letter thing, or your, keeping food, or why do you have silver, or why do you have these cryptos, and why are you making these choices? And then all of a sudden, they're, like you said, they're going to see us doing well, and they're going to be struggling. But I do think that the universe, God, whatever, like you said, many stories, and they call it different things. um, the people that are given these tools are a lot of these people, at least what I'm seeing, that want to do really good things for other people. And so I'm excited and encouraged by that, because like, I have friends in Costa Rica that are wanting to build stuff. I'm on the Veritasium DAO, and I
Mhm,
know, I've gotten to know Reggie Middleton, and his heart is that his IP is protected, and Veritasium is used so that the lady in Africa who makes
mhm,
necklaces has the same, place in a free market to sell her product equally as some big mega store that she can, have the same opportunity. And so that kind of stuff is where I get excited about cryptocurrency, and that's having a free market and being able to exchange with each other, and that being a really positive thing for our world moving forward.
Well, I've lived in several developing countries. I've spent a year in China, and I went over 20 times to Brazil, Sao Paulo. So I think cryptocurrency is interesting for many reasons. And obviously, everybody loves the gains, right? Especially if you get in early and it runs up. But there are certain things in DeFi, especially being able to borrow money, right? Just through the decentralized finance. It's extremely significant, especially for a lot of developing countries, because in Latin America, the stratification or the gap between the wealthy and just the average working person is so huge, and the way that they have their economic system set up, it is very difficult to start a business. But if you had access to DeFi, that really opens it up, where you can get
Yes.
starting capital. I really think that there's a lot of great things that are going to come out of the crypto movement, but it's like the world. It's multifaceted. There's many layers. So you're going to have it's just known. There's the banker coins, right? And those will do well, but I think the direction that these banker coins are going in is probably not what we would want to do. But guess what? Because I've heard, you probably heard this too. It's like, oh, it's cryptos, it's the entry to the beast system and all that.
No.
Those people are not completely wrong, but you've been on the road, you've been seeing it, and I see people all the time that they're using crypto profits to start good businesses that are helping people have a good public service, raising the vibe, right? I cashed out crypto. I bought doggy coins low. I sold them high. I paid off all my debt.
Yeah.
And people are saying that's not real money. That's money. Right?
That's money. That's real money.
It's just that I think we're just, even at this point, which, in the long-term view, the multi-year view, we're probably in a middle adoption phase. But to the average public, we're still very early, because typically what you see at the end of a mega cycle is that mania, right? Which you saw like the 2017, 2018, when it was just crazy. Like the Uber drivers telling you about different cryptos, right? I do not see that right now. So that tells me it could be that we really peaked, what was it, like last May? We had like a good bump in November.
Last summer.
I think we're completing the last phase, and we actually need to get these lows in so we can start the new mega cycle. And it could be that this fall could be the first part of that new cycle. So I sure wanted some more gains, Lisa, but guess what? I spent like all my focus just stacking good tokens, thanks to the help of SL really raised my game, because I've had crypto for years, but in an organized way. She has a recommended coin list,
Right?
And she has a great Discord also. To me, it's like reading the daily trades just to see what people are talking about. A lot of different subforums that, like, oh, okay, I didn't know much about metaverse, gaming. There's a forum for that. Wallets, exchanges. A lot of good advice about security. Security, I would say, that's one of the things I see that some people really haven't taken seriously. But it is in the astrological trends that South Node Scorpio, from January this year till I think July, summer next year, that is literally, people are coming for your stuff. It's government, petty crime, whether it's cutting the catalytic converters off the cars, or governments, both US, NATO, and Russia are seizing assets, right? That's total South Node Scorpio. So it's just set up for, I wouldn't be surprised if Coinbase or some large exchange gets hacked. So definitely a $60 hard wallet. Keep if you don't have positions that you're trading, keep it, in cold storage, right?
Yeah.
I even was not taking the YubiKey seriously, which is like a little USB dongle. So, it's like for sure. 2FA, do we really trust Google to authenticate our
No.
logins?
Yeah.
I got the YubiKey. I think it's such a easy thing to do, but a lot of people are like, it's fine. It's in the astrology people that there's going to be major hacks, and so we have a major eclipse April 30th, and
Okay.
then we have a Scorpio moon. Scorpio moon. I think it's May. People could check me on this, but it's the middle of May. I think May 16th, something like that. Scorpio moon. After that eclipse, that's telling you that we could have some, because it's set up for some kind of hacking theft event or something. I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but me looking at that, I'm like, it is very possible that.
So my gut is, and this is totally just a my gut thing, is that they will either use or they will create some hack or around, and that will be like, oh, there was a big crash or hack, and that'll be the way for them to end and clear out everybody's bank account. And then, oh, but you're going to be made whole. Just download this Fed wallet.
Oh yeah.
And now here's your CBDC that you'll be made whole in. That's my theory.
They're already giving out token payments, social, basically the UBI, the Universal Basic Income. They're doing it all across the major U.S. cities, especially the blue ones, like I'm here in LA. Right now, it's just a debit ATM card, but this is training, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then they're going to switch it to the digital ID, and you're going to have to do everything the man tells you to do.
Well, I think that's what the COVID money was training for that.
It's training, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? Us stubborn MFs, we ain't going to do that, because
no.
I even had some people, on my Facebook, and they were like, hey, there's like free money, whatever. I don't know if it was loan or whatever. It's like you're saying for the COVID.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want that money. And they're like, it's free. And I said, you know what? Nothing's free, especially if it's coming from the government.
If it's free, then you're the price.
Yeah.
So in Texas, Ted Cruz just submitted for a law to be passed for that the Fed cannot create any Fed to direct individual digital currency that would allow them to spy or violate any individual's privacy. And in the language, they specifically compare it to, and they say, like what's going on in China, that allows any spying on their financial privacy or whatever for individuals in. So it blocks a CBDC from Texans, from government.
But I think Texas is going to be
I think that's really good.
Really the holdout of Americana, and will be the most stable zone, because Texas is about the size of Germany, and they have everything you need to be a sovereign state, and they're the only state that has the right to secede and become their own country, right? The Lone Star Republic. So, if people are interested, though, in relocating, I would highly suggest they check out what they call astrocartography, which is basically you can, input your birthday, time, location, the natal chart information, but then map it on the globe, and it'll show where your fortune lines are. And if it falls on like Texas or Florida, I would highly, if you're in U.S., right? If you're not thinking about going abroad, you have lines in like Texas or Florida, I would highly suggest people check that out, because a lot of people are not aware of this. Just based on where you live, it could be the best place in the world, but if you don't have good lines there, it could be terrible for you. Conversely, you could move to somewhere that people are like, why did you move there? But if you have good lines there, it's like you're blessed, So, I just see that, we're in the time of great change. Aquarius, right? You remember that?
Right.
It's the waves up and down. So for things like cryptocurrency, long-term, great. But it also means extreme social disrupt. revolutionary, right? But a revolutionary is overturning the whole thing. It's like stirring the pot. So I think what's going to happen is our kind of people, they'll be doing the best, but it's going to be against this background of general chaos, probably until the end of this decade. I think 2030 it'll open up, and you know, it's. I see it as an exciting time though, because the kind of people, I mean, the kind of stuff I talk about is kind of weird, Lisa. So if they sought me out for a reading, I'm getting them real fringe people. But what I see is people moving forward, doing what they were born to do, starting new businesses, relocating. And, I'm born and grown in LA, but I'm no fool. I look around, the vibe is very like down here. When I went down to Texas and in Hill Country, the vibe was very up because, people, they're having a new start. And I have a lot of clients in Florida also. So, I would just say, it's time to do what you were born to do. And part of that, I think the crypto is going to be part of that for a lot of us. Well, I'll tell you this, I'm closing my shop at the end of this month, and I would not have been able to do that if it had not been for crypto.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
I see that more and more people leaving. And part of on your video I was watching, you're saying people are leaving the cities. And I was just in Bitcoin in Miami for the Bitcoin conference, and one of my friends there, she's now working in crypto, and she's been working with one of her clients in Chicago, and she said it's a ghost town. She said, I look across and she's like, it's creepy because there's just dead plants in buildings because no one works in them. And she said, you literally can't get a sandwich downtown because no one works there. Like, there's no one working in the cities anymore, and everyone's moving out of the cities and leaving these big cities, leaving New York, leaving Chicago. And in your video, you said they're moving to the Sun Belt. They're moving down south. And maybe if they're smart, they're following their astrocartography.
That's right. Robert does relocation readings. Can I talk real quick about some of my energy tools? Sure. Because that's one of the main things I focus on for the past 8 years.
Masaki.
Yeah.
Before you talk about your tool,
sure.
Earlier you said that you closed a shop. Your shop is Patreon, right?
My shop is at akaida.com. It's akaida.com. But I did have a Patreon also. But yes. I'm thinking about closing that also.
Yes.
Right. People probably know me on SL's Farm on Pyramid Power, because it's a Pyramid Power Patreon. But you can see, Lisa, these pyramids, it's not just a lot of people might have heard of the Orgonite pyramids, which has like quartz crystal, metal, plastic resin. It kind of neutralizes like Wi-Fi signals, gives you better sleep. That kind of, computer fatigue knocks that out. But I took it to the next level, and it actually has a scalar antenna, or that kind of like Wilhelm Reich, orgone, the 0 point, you can do some tremendous things. This is total Aquarian, right? You're talking about frequencies, all kinds of like homeopathic, so-called healing.
Oh, so you could do like healing with this.
Yeah. I don't know if I'll be able to I might make like one more before I close, but I made like over 100 of these, and trust me, I'm a crazy person because no one's gonna do this by hand except me, right? So,
wow.
But I'll say this, Lisa, a lot of the Patriots have done a lot of deep looking into things, right, about what's really going on in this world. It can get kind of depressing because you come to a point where you're like, wow, this is what's going on, but what can I as one person do about it, right? Well, I think I felt that my life changed when I came upon making the orgone, or some people call orgonite pyramids, because it's an energy tool. And we know how much like Wi-Fi and these electronic signals are around us, like 5G, all that kind of stuff, right? I made these pyramids with my hands, and I either gifted it to somebody or they bought it. And I get the feedback, hey, I get better sleep, right? That's real. Might be one person at a time, but that's real. That shifted me from kind of a fear-based mentality where I, by my own hands, shifted the reality and tipped it to like a positive balance, right? So I don't think I have any pyramids up right now, but there's energy pendants like they call these the tensor rings, right? And it's surprising. I thought this was BS because this copper you can get at the hardware store. But if you cut it to the measuring lengths they used in the old times, like the megalithic structures, the pyramids, funny enough, this is extremely strong. And basically, it doesn't block out the signals, but it kind of harmonizes it. So they pass through you, but you're not getting like torn up by all the, it's like that computer fatigue. If you ever worked in front of a computer all day, you're more tired than if you would have been just at the beach or in the park or something, right? So there's all kinds of tools. I have crystals on my shop, pendants, that kind of stuff. And honestly, I think that going forward, and this is very Aquarian too, because you're talking about, to some people it's flaky, right? But I'm telling you, try it out for yourself and you see what happens.
Yeah, when you experience it.
It's basically being aware of what you can't see with your physical eye. It's very Aquarian because Aquarius is all the waves in the air. So the energy tools is a big part of that. And some of these things you can even make yourself. Like I just started making pyramids myself from instructions online, and then I became like the pyramid guy with the Doge shirt, right? So
Masaki,
yeah.
I'm really interested in your pyramid. Can you talk a little bit about the benefit of having one of those?
Okay, well, number one, I think it's owning your space, right? So it's like, you can apply everything in like the state citizen or the sovereign citizen movement, right? The whole, Christian patriot movement of like, I'm sovereign in my space, right? So in your house or your living space or your office, this is my space. I'm safe and secure, and it's a high energy, right? Well, literally, when you start using energy tools, it raises the scalar potential or that kind of etheric potential in your space. Number one, if you have a good tool, and there's many out there, you'll get better sleep. And typically, if it's a strong tool, like if I just had it unpowered, this pyramid, you would notice a difference. But if you run it powered, sometimes I'll get up like an hour or two earlier because your body's like recharging faster, right? Your dreams start going off the charts. Any kind of energy, any kind of like body work, acupuncture, energy work, like people, if you're doing physical therapy, whether it's hands-on healing or physical, if you have this running in the room, the practitioner, it's like you got a helping hand because there's just a lot more energy in the room to push out any kind of blocks, that kind of stuff. I wouldn't even suggest SL use my pyramid because she already gets so much stuff. If she was running my pyramid, it'd be, you go to the moon. But it's very interesting that, there's things that exist that, I'm doing this, I made it basically technical art, right? But
what kind of material?
I'm not coming out of a factory. I made it with my own hands, and people have had tremendous effects. You can also use it for manifestation because this kind of energy, which Tesla, Wilhelm Reich was talking about, it's a precursor bandwidth or a precursor wave to the regular EMF that we're taught about, and they call scalar field. The scalar field, it's an information field. So there's no distance dimension. So you can send an influence across the globe with no energy loss. This is what Tesla was talking about, right? So the thing is that a thought or intention is actually information. So by that fact, if you have one of these devices or tools, or you're even like wearing a pendant like that, the capability for you to manifest an idea or trend is greatly magnified. You don't need these tools but it's like you don't need a car either. You can just walk, right? You can use a skateboard, you can bike. So it's like levels. It's like a leverage, sort of, right? And for certain people, which is basically our kind of people, a lot of them have the natural talent to, manifest things to happen. And I always say, do it in the highest good. I never do anything selfishly or anything like that. And I see it as part of a meditation where I do all the above board things, but then I sort of like charge it extra. It's like an extra push to make things happen like that, And hopefully, once I close my shop, I'll be actually use this myself because I've been so dang busy. I barely use these things for myself, as they're supposed to be used, right? As energy tools.
So what kind of materials are these made out of?
The organite pyramids is made from plastic resin. I use polyester clear casting resin, metal shavings or metal particles, and quartz crystal. The quartz crystal is an amplifier, and it also stabilizes the energy. And I use shungite from Russia, which is now blocked for trade for us. But luckily, I had stocked up. Shungite is a natural EMF harmonizer, right?
That's what C60 is made from.
Yeah. So, and this is the thing also, Lisa, is America is a Cancer country, and Cancer rules nationalism. Cancer rules family. Cancer rules borders, right? So America, there's a reason why, America has problems like every country does, but there's a reason why America in the globalist view needs to be taken down, because we're a very nationalistic country, right? But interestingly, it's July 4th, right? 4 is the number of Aquarius. So we're a revolutionary country, and we've specialized in a lot of innovation. Why am I bringing this up? Because Don Croft and Carol Croft, they were the ones that really popularized the whole, organite pyramid movement as a sort of a decentralized DIY movement where people could make pyramids on their own. And they also had what they called the gifting movement, which is making, small disposable pieces in something as simple as a muffin pan. And maybe, because, it basically will flip the energy in the area, right? Maybe you're walking around and just happen to see a cell tower and oops, I dropped a little muffin by the cell tower. Drop a couple of those in an area where the energy needs to be flipped positive. They call that the gifting movement. So very interesting that there are quite a number of very positive, groundbreaking inventors and people that push things forward. They're actually Americans, because that is the higher aspect of what this country was supposed to be,
Interesting. I did not know the history of that. So a long time ago, I say a long time ago, way back in 2018, crypto has a different timeline, I guess. But I had a guy give me a pyramid at an event, and it was really significant to him, and I didn't know the history of all of it. And so I've kept it. I don't know where I put it.
Well, I would say this, like anything, just, try it out for yourself, because self-knowledge, I think, is one of the greatest tools. And for me, working with these energy tools, and I basically work with a whole range just to try everything out, that prove to myself like what works, what doesn't work, what's the strongest, this kind of thing, is, it was like really the hands-on experience building these. I took it to the farthest extent you could do, because I made the regular ones, which is non-powered, and then you make a couple hundred of those, you get bored, right? I'm like, okay, I'll start making powered pyramids. And I actually got to the point where I got vetted by some of the top people in the field. I never advertised. I'm too small, because I'm only one guy, so very boutique, right? But I got out there, and the people that got my pyramids, I guess they'll be collector's items now. So
very nice.
Yes, and this is strange, Lisa. I am of that Aquarian mind. So when people look back and like, how did Lisa know? How did Masaki and SL know? I say, we're kind of weirdos, but we weren't wrong. We were just ahead of the curve. Right?
We're getting our downloads, I guess.
Yeah. Do you guys have any particular things? Because there's I blazed through those slides because I knew there were a lot, but it's so interesting. This whole area, crypto alone, you could talk about for hours, but the whole metaphysical thing, it is showing. Like I was telling you, we knew before Trump came in, not everything, but the general trends of where this was going. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I could go on and on the same. So much of it resonates with, what we're seeing in Cliff High's data, as well as what, we talked about with Robert and when we had him on, and then what you're seeing and what we were seeing in astrology, even what Susan was seeing with a lot of hers. Let's see. There is a question from YouTube. SL says, TPTB.
Or the powers that be harvesting
thank you.
this Taurus energy by creating shortages. Well, I mean, definitely they are highly aware of the trends. So I think it's maybe a little bit of both. Some of it, it's like the seasons. Things will happen as a general trend, but of course they're going to create shortages for control, basically, right? But even if these things, these nefarious plans weren't happening, we would still have massive earth changes, weird weather, which would disrupt the crop production and all that. One of the things that I suspect that south direction will be the prosperity zone for 20 years, right? We're talking about the feng shui, 2024 to 2044. South direction, which was basically be like global south, sort of like south of the equator, but it also rules like tropical islands and resort areas. Why would that be the prosperity direction? I think because there's going to be a lot of problems in the northern hemisphere, especially with possible like the what they call it, the solar minimum, like basically colder winters and more difficulties growing crops. And I think there will be a general migration south. So that's one of the things. But think about it too. Uranus and Taurus, last time it hit was in the latter part of the Depression in the 30s. And you had rationing, food tickets, those kind of things at that time. We're going to see that again, and it's partially because it's been made to be this way, but it's also with the trend. I would also say this, that we've all heard of the reset, right? And I was on YouTube at the end of 2019 telling people, start getting prepared, start stocking up, because 2020 will be the first year of the reset. Now, I didn't know it was going to be a global lockdown, but myself and many other people we saw something big was coming, right? Why are they doing the reset now? Because everything in this decade is primed for a reset. That means we can make it our reset, right? They're doing it because they know, they're highly aware of the cycles. So if you want to push a global reset, this is the time.
So we can hijack it.
You could basically make it your reset, because a big question, which I think should have been clear in the last 2 years, is like, if we just show the people the information,
right,
we can, break out of this and get freedom. Well, it's pretty clear that's not the case, because there's a fundamental question you have to ask. Do you want to be free? There's a lot of people, Lisa, they don't want to be free.
I agree
Those
with
people,
that.
if you're lazy or you just don't have, if you can't stand up for yourself, they're going to get sucked into, like what I said, Aquarius is a group consciousness, but there's the organic, global, kind of the higher aspect of kind of like what we are, right? Then you have the kind of like NPC hive mind. People that they do not want to be free or they can't stand up for themselves, naturally, they're just going to go this way. But I don't think we're interested in that. We want to do our reset, right? And it's actually already happening, like I said. It's just happening. It's not like being focused on by the media. But if you talk to people, you've been around, you've been traveling. I've been doing, hundreds of readings. I see it. People, they're fundamentally starting something way different, more exciting. They're on their life purpose, all that kind of stuff. So the reset is happening. It's just not being, promoted or told to us.
Yeah,
But I see
that's actually historical as well. I mean, there was times where people were freed in history, but not everyone was ready for it. And the people that weren't ready for it went back to their owners and said, please take me in. And they sold themselves to their owners because they didn't want freedom. They wanted to be owned by somebody. They didn't want that responsibility for themselves.
And you know what?
I think that may be something we always have.
I see SL as a question, but I'll say this first is that it's we're in an extremely disruptive period, but this is the change that had to happen, and it's not a bad thing. It's just that a lot of times I think people could relate to this. We've all been in a relationship, maybe it was some problems, but kind of scary. You don't want to leave, right? Because you know what that is, even if it's not good, right? The new thing is always a little scary. But guess what? Whether people like it or not, we're being forced forward, right? We're not going back. We're only going forward. So all these changes, especially for people that weren't proactive, not in the liberty, if you're in the liberty patriot movement, it was clearly obvious things needed to be fixed and changed, right? But there's a lot of people, most people, they just want to live their lives, got kids, work, whatever. Don't want to think about that. You cannot ignore it now, right? So things are being pushed forward. Who's going to do the best? It's our kind of people.
So thinking of the moving forward, somebody's asking, you said in 2030 it will open up. Can you expand a little bit on that? What does it look like in 2030 to open up?
Yeah, so a lot of the major transits, the astrological transits, they're until 2026, but it's still I think it's like 2026 to like, I don't know, a couple of years after that. There's no grounding element. There's no, in the astrological signs and symbols, there's no earth and there's no water. It's all air, right? I think that time people could get totally lost in metaverse stuff, and it's going to take time for these things to shake out. As far as we're about to hit this financial reset. I mean, we're in it now, but as far as that big event, whenever the other shoe drops, it's going to have multi-year effects, right? In all the food and supply chain stuff. I don't think things will open up as far as, feeling the pressure of like all this change and, whatever else the powers that be throw at us. I don't think it'll really open up for us to really solidly establish something and say, okay, from here, it's a little more stable and moving forward that way. Again, I'm not the astrology expert, but that 2030 date has come up multiple times, and Robert Phoenix talked about it. So I'm also not one of those people that think that you probably heard this. The people that are like, I'm going to sit on Bitcoin for like 20 years and I'll be a multimillionaire or whatever. This thing is moving so quick from like day to day. I think the next couple of years, 2024 maybe, crypto is solid. You're going to have those big up and down moves, but the next couple of years, I think it'll be fine. But Aquarius is like, I'll say this: Aquarian energy is Pandora's box. It's one word to call it is chaos. Does anybody control chaos?
No.
This can be to our advantage though, because the whole lockdown experience, they got a lot of what they wanted, but it didn't work out. I think it's pretty clear. It did not work out the way they thought. Whatever happened, I think it was off schedule or some things. Aquarius is always that chaos factor. It's like whatever was intended doesn't quite work out. Like if you think you understand crypto and can predict crypto 110%, you don't understand it, right? So I think though that just this has come up in SL's group. Your time really focusing on crypto taking different sources of information, also really learning to sell. That's something that I'm learning now, because I used to be in the hodl, just sit and hold. But things like Shiba Inu have such parabolic moves. If you if you don't take at least some off the top when it goes up, like whatever 400%, you're just gonna give it back, right? So use this all as like a teaching method, or like a game, like you're hitting the ball. And so that's the thing with Aquarius energy. It's very dramatic up and downs. So learning to play this game, like the crypto people know, this is going to be like huge swings, right? It's unlike any other market. So when people just come in, they've never had crypto before. I went on Robert Phoenix's show a couple weeks ago, and I told people, I think there could be a significant drop coming up. So just know that, so you don't freak out, because a lot of people, his Robert's followers, we did a workshop in December, and a lot of them never had crypto before. So you got to think, if those people, they just got in and they see, we could have, especially, I think this incoming drop, it could be connected to some larger event, right? Whether it's like a cyber attack, global market crash, whatever. Long term, I think we'll be fine. But I just put that out there for the, especially for the people that are just like dipping their feet in, is that this is sort of the trend that we're in, though, right? Aquarius, you can never quite predict, but we know from the general setup, it's looking like we should have had a good run. But I think the Ukraine situation, it sucked a lot of liquidity out of the markets. So it pretty much flattened out whatever run we could have had into basically now, right? So,
Very interesting. SL, do you have any questions before we go?
No, I don't. But I think before we got on air, you told us about how well you're doing with crypto, and I'm really proud of you because you really proactive with your decisions and how you come about buying or selling certain coins. You just don't blindly. There's a lot of noise in this space, not only in my group, but on YouTube and social media. But you.
Well, the thing is too is we were talking about the true node Taurus and South Node Scorpio. I'm on the axis, right? Every astrological sign, it has an opposite sign. Taurus Scorpio, that's the one axis. I have a lot of Taurus Scorpio energy. So super focused, one track mind. I'll spend hours just looking at things. But also I'm a reader myself. So I take all inputs of information, but then ultimately I have to go with what I feel is the right direction, right? So, but SL is a great source. And even though, people have been kind of saying this astrologer, it was off or whatever, it's still something to consider, whether you just take the long-term view instead of this day, this is going to happen, and this week, this is going to happen, because Aquarius rules metaphysics. And there's a reason why, in comparison to traditional markets, crypto people are highly interested in what, the esoteric readers are saying, because they don't really care where the information comes from, as long as it helps them make money, right? Because they have a saying that, is it set? Money talks, BS walks, right? So, it's like, long term, I think people, and there will be readers that really rise and specialize specifically on crypto. But guess what? Out of all the readers I see out there, there's somebody called SL369 that I think has a very good track record. So definitely. And funny enough, I came to SL when she was talking about Dogecoin, because I basically already had my position, but then joining her group, it really set me up for, I may not have to work for quite a while if it works out. But at the same time, knowing the way crypto goes, you kind of have to. I think that if you try to control it and say, I need this money, I need this move to happen, the energy, it's like too restricted. You kind of have to have a looser mentality of like, do the above board, set up your positions right, but then give it like a year or something. If it's like a major pump, then yeah, take some profits, right? But I think that we are very well set up for the long term. If your time frame is going into 2023, I think a lot of us will be more than fine. I think we'll be doing very well. But my and you can come to this in many ways, right? But my personal opinion, this is not just about money. It's a teaching experience, and there's a lot to learn about crypto. And I think the bar to entry for a lot of people, yeah, anybody could just like buy Bitcoin on Cash App, right? But if you really, this, Lisa, because you're doing shows all the time. If you really want to get into crypto, it's a full-time job, but it's fun to me. So the people that watch your show, the people that are in following SL, I think we're at a very high level as far as crypto goes, and there's a reward for that, right? You can, anybody can get into crypto.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When you get into the deeper level,
when you get into this level.
Yeah, we're already ahead of the curve. But when you get into like, I'm farming this and I did the LP tokens, whatever, it's like, the viewer, what are you talking about?
No,
I
my husband
don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, my husband just stands in front of the computer and stares at it.
So
for hours and gets lots of great information from SL. I did want to share with you guys. I shared both of your YouTube channels, and I shared you still have a couple of pyramids. You said you're keeping your shop open for a little while.
Right. I have like energy pendants. I have like crystals. I have actually this board here, which is it's a powered. This is an antenna coil, right? It's a powered frequency that's basically pyramid energy.
Okay.
And it's paired with a crystal. So I have this on the shop. I might make a few pyramids here and there. Even after I close, I might just have like one page with a few pyramids.
Okay.
But I have stuff up there, but the pyramids you see here, I may only have a few more in the future.
Those links are all in the description of this video, and then I have my channel or my new website up there as well. If you guys know people that are new to crypto and looking to get in, we are hosting an online class, interactive classes for people that are brand new. This is for not people that are doing liquidity pool mining and all that kind of stuff, but brand new. So if you guys are interested in that, they can come to litecoinlisa.net and scroll down here and click classes. And we're going to limit those to less than 20 people. And that'll be me and my buddy Clint Westwood teaching those classes. The first one is at the end of April, because we are thinking people are going to be, we were hoping for some kind of run up and people would be FOMOing into crypto and looking for those tools. So we're kind of trying to create that opportunity for new people. So if you know people looking for that opportunity, please point them in that direction. And we just really appreciate you joining us. I think it's really interesting to see all these things turning and it all happening so fast, this bridge into this Aquarius energy and the
things are
future.
accelerating. Well, Aquarius is like air sign, right? So just think like those waves of the air, just like, back in the day, kids today, young kids today, they can't even, they can't even think about or imagine the way things used to be, because we're probably the last generation that grew up without smartphones or cell phones, right? I mean, how did you used to meet up in high school? It's like, yeah, we'll meet you at the mall, at the park, whatever, at this time. There's no texting.
And if there didn't happen, if they didn't show up, it's just you waited till school the next day to see them. Yeah. Well, and the other way that this is going to happen so exponentially fast is there's no hardware that needs to be built. We're not waiting for an item. This is all, like you said, over waves, over thought process. things are going to advance because someone had an idea and it will be implemented in code with words through frequency. So it's going to just go like that.
Well, Aquarius, it really favors what they call novelty, originality. And you know that a lot of the forward-thinking inventions, movements, they were seen as very odd and strange in the beginning, right? But now we're in that age where this is favored. So, you know, we're already in it, but we're going to see a very large financial, social disruption, right? Just like in the decade of the Depression, right? But guess what? There will be fortunes made, not just in crypto, but you have to think, what if we're cut off from China trade, right? Well, every damn thing's made in China. So, but what's the upside of that? The services, those items, and they need to be filled, right? Great thing for domestic production, maker culture, 3D printing. There's a lot of opportunities because look at it like this. We were in a structure, right? We're in a hard financial social structure. They're imploding the foundations out just like 9/11, right? But that's like great energy release. Anytime you have a huge financial movement up or down, there's a lot of energy there. There are spaces you can move into that didn't exist just a few years ago. So there will be people that will find an opportunity that actually could not have happened if the
because they couldn't compete before.
Yeah, so you can always look at the upside. There's opportunities in all this, actually.
Yeah, they just really couldn't compete before. I think about in fashion industry, you know, you literally couldn't compete. I had a friend that she wanted to do baby clothes and whatever, and she's like, I just can't for the amount of time I spend, and even by the time I buy the material and all the things to make it, like it costs so much, and then people can go buy cute stuff at Gap and whatever. Well, now there was a little dress shop that Mom and we always go to, and the lady's like, I can't get stuff at a lot of these places. I have stuff shipped over, and she's like, so I'm gonna have to start buying more local. Well, that's exciting for me because I want us to bet on Main Street. I want us to back our local economy. I want us to help our neighbor start that local business out of her, garage or whatever. And so I do see that kind of, and that being the rebuilding of America, and maybe it just looks different, but it's exciting. It's really exciting time. So,
well, yeah. And you know what you do and what SL does, it's with the trend, because people talk about MSM, mainstream media, and they're saying this and that. That actually it's the indie media, it's the indie sources that have a larger viewership than the mainstream now. But the thing is, for it's like little tribes. So people are starting to gravitate. Even me myself, I've been running a Patreon, people following me. We have enough people now to really start our own movements and those kind of things. So it's like the I don't know if people totally realize it, but actually the shift has happened, and it's continuing to happen, where everybody's going to have their own, tight-knit group about things they're interested in and those kind of things. So I would just say that everything that you guys are doing, it's with the trend. And if you know the metaphysical trends, the trend is like a river, right? So if you're going with the flow, everything's going to be easier. The money will start coming in. You're going with the trend instead of against it, right? The people that don't think that anything is wrong and they want to go back to 2019 and all that, you're not with the trend. You're not understanding what's happening. If you've been paying attention, following Lisa's show, SL, interested in crypto, you're with the trend. And this goes for people too. Like when you do a personal reading, everybody kind of comes in with a poker hand. There'll be people that tell you that, like, I don't have any special skill, I don't know what to do. That is completely untrue. If you were born on a day, if you have a birthday, and I look at your birthday, I could say like, oh, you're good at a particular skill. Like from the first of the month to the 31st, each number day represents a special skill. So actually, I don't know if you guys want to throw out just the day of the month you're born from 1 to 31. I could tell you.
21.
21? 21 is 3. That's Sagittarian energy. So that's actually truther.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And then very good, very charismatic, good talker, you know, optimist. The 3 number is connected to Jupiter Sagittarius.
Okay.
So yeah.
Well, you guys take care. Thank you everybody for watching. And SL, thank you so much for introducing me to your friend. I'm excited about the future. And you know, we're going to get through this. I'm glad that we have this tool that, you know, that we'll be able to help others with when we bridge this.
We'll check back when Shiba Inu is 1 cent in 2023, right? So
I don't think it's going to take that long, but okay.
But yeah, thank you guys. And it's great talking to you.
All right.
Yeah, thank you for coming on.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Bye.